is 1645. You can join the WebEx on your phone. 1-617-315-0704 is the number. And if you're looking to participate online, please raise your hand and staff will send you a request to unmute on WebEx at the appropriate time. We're being recorded by BCAT, which can be found on Comcast 99, RCN 15, Verizon 41, and is broadcast live on the BCAT government Facebook page.
Thank you. The first item on our agenda is public participation. If there is anyone here or online that wishes to speak on a matter that is not on our agenda, please raise your hand. Seeing no one, we'll move on to announcements.
So the final Town Center Beer Garden event is currently happening, and it goes until 8:30, and that's at the Pocket Park. There's a flu vaccine clinic through the Burlington Board of Health, and that will be a regular dose clinic this Saturday, October 4th, from 10 to 1 p.m., and that's at Grandview. It's going to be for ages 6 months to 64 years old, and pre-registration is encouraged through the Board of Health webpage. Town meeting night 2 will be next Monday, this October 6th, and that begins at 7 o'clock, and that's at the high school auditorium. The Zoning Bylaw Review Committee will meet Wednesday, October 8th, and that's at 6:30 via Zoom. And on Monday, October 13th, town offices will be closed in observance of Indigenous Peoples Day.
Thank you, and I have another one that I forgot to tell you about. The Public Arts Committee will be hosting the 4th annual pumpkin painting party this year at the Common on Saturday, October 25th from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Supplies are limited. Please come early if you want a pumpkin. We do not have any legal notices or non-approvals, so we have a non-approval. Our first item is item 5A. Application for endorsement of a plan believed not to require approval. 1 Burlington Mall Road on 1 Burlington Mall Road. And what is 1 Burlington is the owner?
Is the owner.
LLC, okay. 1 Burlington is the owner, LLC, applicant. Who is here representing this?
Good evening, Madam Vice Chair, or Madam Chair. I don't know what the correct...
Vice still.
Okay. For the record, Robert Buckley, Reamer and Bronstein. This is really administrative in nature, and it really reflects the state of the economy. As everyone knows, that labs are and other uses are struggling right now, and the way projects are financed in today's world, you tend to have out-of-jurisdiction lenders or capital partners who don't understand how zoning works in Massachusetts because they may be from San Francisco or whatever. And all this does is create a non-buildable lot that will freeze the uses so that the lenders don't have to worry about the uses being changed without their awareness over the next 3 years. Clearly, if we were to get a user, we'd just eliminate this and eliminate the law and go back to the original. So that's all we're doing is just a use freeze for 3 years.
Okay, thank you.
You're probably going to see more of these as time goes on.
Sure. So just for those of you that were not here in 2022, which is when this occurred, so this parcel is the lower lot of the of Burlington Marriott. So if you can see on the bottom left corner, that's where the Burlington Marriott is, and this is the lower parking lot, the corner of Cambridge Street and Burlington Mall Road. It's kind of behind a bunch of pine trees right now. And so it was subdivided, and they proposed an 80,000 square foot office lab building with a GMP, a 16,000 square foot GMP facility. And so that is, those of you that were here, there was a lot of discussion about shared parking between the Marriott and this use. And so they, again, as Attorney Buckley said, they are freezing the zoning just to, make sure that their rights are protected. You never know. But that's all I have,
Okay.
Madam Chair.
Thank you. Do any board members have questions? Anybody online with a question? Okay, then I am ready for a motion.
To approve, right?
Yes.
Can we give you more?
Yes, please.
Make a motion to approve and sign the approval not required plan entitled subdivision plan of land 1 Burlington Mall Road, Burlington, Mass., prepared by Feldman Geospatial Spatial dated June 23rd, 2025, reflecting the modification of a lot line on Assessors Map 41, Parcel 98-0-1.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That is 5-0.
Thank you. We will get the MyLaws to staff in the next few days, and then whenever you sign it, fine.
Very good,
But-
thank you.
Go Sox.
Enjoy the game. Okay. The next item on our agenda is an administrative matter, item 6A, a discussion on the Burlington High School project presented by Burlington High School, the Burlington School Department. Before we begin our discussion, I want to frame this so that the public and the proponent understand the planning board's role in this project. Our role is to review and vote on the site plan application for a new high school building. That means this board will focus on site elements such as, but not limited to, siting of the building, traffic circulation, lighting, and landscaping. Unlike with the recent police station project that underwent site plan review, the board will not have design review over this project. While members of the board may offer opinions with intent of improving the design, we do not have the authority to require those design elements be incorporated into the final design. The planning board also does not have jurisdiction over the decisions that were made regarding the financing of this project. We as town residents may hold our opinions on these matters, and we can vote our consciences in November. But for the purposes of site plan review discussion with the planning board, I ask everyone to keep their comments to the areas that the board is responsible for. I encourage all watching that have any questions or concerns regarding other elements of the project, please contact the select board or the school committee. While this evening's agenda item is not a public hearing, once I and my fellow board members and our staff have a chance to ask questions, I will allow members of the public who are present to ask questions on aspects of this proposal that are related to site plan review. Those attending remotely, please use the raise your hand function and staff will unmute you at the correct time. I will enforce a 3-minute maximum speaking time, and any follow-up questions regarding the site plan review process can be directed to our planning staff at planning@burlington.org. With that, who is here on behalf of the proponent?
So good evening. My name is Terry Hartford. I work for Doran Whittier as the owner's project manager. I've met many of you in various different meetings. Chris Blesson from TAPE, he is the architect of record. Christy Lyons is here. She represents Consigli, who's our construction manager. I see Catherine Bond on, who's obviously the chair of the building committee. Martha Simon is also on the building committee, and we're here tonight really just to give you guys an update as to where we are in the plan. So I appreciate how you frame that, Madam Chair. Like that makes perfect sense.
Interrupt for just a minute.
Yes.
Can you pull the microphone closer?
Absolutely, I can.
If it does, if it feels
I need Bob
uncomfortable,
Kuna
it's not close enough, you have to feel a little uncomfortable
Yeah.
with how close.
Is
it
that better? Is that better?
That's better.
So as you're all aware, we had a short discussion on Monday night that did result.
I thought it was still going on.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm wearing a sweatshirt. I haven't slept yet. So town meeting did approve borrowing the funds, subject to a debt exclusion, which the select board on Tuesday selected November 15th. Town meeting is still open. They have to approve a warrant to fund that article for the election, but our expectation is that it happens on the 15th of November. We're here tonight. I had actually hoped to give you guys an update before town meeting so that you could opine or give your opinion. That didn't work out for whatever reason. It doesn't really matter. So in talking with Liz and Caleb, it was like, well, we can still come. And so I sent the original town meeting presentation to the group, which hopefully you received through you. I've condensed that tonight to more focus on planning board matters, which is really to show, one, the site plan, and two, some renderings so that you can just see where we are. But at the end of the day, we are still subject to the debt exclusion vote, and my expectation is if that is successful, we, all of us, and all of you will be meeting somewhat frequently over the course of the next 15 months, call it that.
Well, you answered one of my questions. So the site plan review process will not begin until after the election, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. So, Caleb, do you want to share it, or do you want me to do?
I can do it.
Yeah.
You just got to tell me when to go to the next.
Yeah,
one,
yeah,
okay?
yep.
All right. I'll bring up the slides. Bring it big up here.
Yep, so I would just go to the next slide, which is really just a schedule of where we are. I've mentioned the debt exclusion vote. As is typical, I think all of you are familiar with Fox Hill. It follows a very similar pattern in that, assuming we get approval, the design team, the construction team, and ourselves will work on detailed design. We'll go into construction documents. We hope to bid the job in the first quarter of '27, start construction on or about April or May of '27. The new academic wing would be built and occupied effectively in the middle of '29, and we'll look to finish construction activities on the site in 2030. So those are the big milestones. So I'll pause there. That's kind of our schedule. And if there are no questions, I'm actually just going to turn this over to Chris. We have a bunch of renderings. I don't know if you want to see the site plan first. Well, maybe no, I'm going to talk for a second. This is the existing facility as...
So pretty.
Yep, it's lovely. And if you go to the next slide, I think it probably shows what it looks like, what we are proposing. And I'm going to let Chris talk into that, but maybe we just go to the site plan and Chris can describe that, and we'll take any questions.
Okay.
And I think the site plan.
Yeah, one or two slides down. Yep, there it is.
Let me
Yep.
zoom this out.
So for clarity on the process, usually when we get nearing more detailed design, so nearing somewhere near the end of design development, is when we usually start making our submissions to planning and, all the conservation folks and anybody who needs regulatory oversight. And that's just simply because we have to get that far to get the calculations that you guys will be looking for. So we'll be in touch with everybody to set the standard on, what you expect, the timelines for submissions and approvals, and we'll get a big calendar made so that everybody's aware during the early stages of DD, and then we'll start planning that out. The site plan here, you can see that the tan portions of the site or the building are the additions to the existing building. The white portions are existing building that will remain and be renovated. The big takeaway that you can see from if you considered this a 30,000-foot view looking down on the site is that some hallmark aspects of any site improvement nowadays is that you need to improve rate and flow of water runoff from storms. This will do that. We're going to also be improving the impervious area in a downward direction, which is good news. And that'll be a constant goal for us on this project. So those are kind of two big takeaways from a site plan process. One other sort of constraint to keep in mind, well, if you look at the upper edge where, the white where the auditorium is, I don't know if everybody knows where the auditorium is. It's down one more block. Right there, that's the auditorium. So if you follow the sort of edge of building all the way across, that's the existing building currently, is that edge and then the other edge on the other side. And so where to put the addition so that we could phase construction in a way that was not disruptive to students, so that we're not having to put students in modulars and temporary facilities, which saves the town money, but also schedule, was to put the addition in the area right now that's the drop-off, or I think some people may call it the horseshoe, whatever the shape is. It's out there. And it also then orients to a southerly exposure for the long axis of the building, which helps us on sustainability. And if you were to zoom in on this, which you guys can do sometime when you have the documents, but there's a river setback on the northwestern edge there. That big blue line there, yeah. And then in part of the schematic design and feasibility study, we did a pretty extensive, what is the term? with ANRAD, thank you, an ANRAD process with conservation to establish the boundaries of wetlands, because there's a bunch on this site, and it's really challenging. There's really almost nowhere to build that doesn't already have building on it. Well, so it turns out that as the road comes up, the access road that comes up between sort of at the edge, the northern edge of this view, there's a wetland setback that kind of follows along that edge. So in trying to shape the building for sustainability, we were also able to stay out of these primary setbacks for riverfront and wetlands. So that's a big win, I think, is we're able to get the program in and still work there. The building proposed will not be any higher than other parts of the building that are existing on the site right now. So there's fly lofts, there's other portions of the building. It actually, as you saw in the first picture, steps down the hill, and so there's a 20 feet of elevation change in the first floor alone as it goes down the hill. And so we're not proposing anything that's going to be higher than what's already on site. We already did, so these are some things that'll come at you when we do our official submissions, but just kind of laying out how we've analyzed the site. We've done audio, well, I guess it's background noise collection. We did monitors in several spots, so we know the ambient background noise. So there's regulations about making sure you don't increase that, and so you'll see us talk more about that in future submissions. But really, we're trying to do is improve the site from a traffic flow pattern too. Right now, everybody comes in and just goes clockwise around the building, and that means buses, cars, everybody. If you're on site, you're going the same way, and there's no separation for that. I've been on site several times, and it's a mess. I've seen some things in that process. But what this site plan does is it actually allows us that road that goes between the upper building, the Center for Education, and the actual high school is a car drop-off lane that allows the parents to have two lanes. One is for leaving and the other's for active drop-off. And you typically want the right-hand side of the car on the sidewalk side on drop-off situations for.
Is
yeah.
that the sort of basketball court-shaped
No,
section?
this is the
Right
long,
there,
this is
okay.
the long connector road
Okay.
between, yep, right there. And then it also is a widened road all the way from where the Y connector is, where the sort of fork in the road up at the top of right there. It widens out so that when the cars get backed up in the very, very intense time of drop-off or pickup, we've got a really long queue. And so that allows for the processing, and our traffic consultants have done the data that, every X amount of seconds a car has completed a drop-off and a student leaves and they leave, and so the line can back, there's this analysis we've done, but this allows the cars to be in their spots, and then the buses would go all the way around the Center for Education, and then the horseshoe spot that you were just talking about is a dedicated lane for buses. And what that does is gets the buses out of the car travel lane so that when they open their doors and the stop signs come out, it doesn't stop all traffic on site until they leave. And that's a big problem for your site as well, is when the buses stop, everything stops, right? So this is the mechanism that we do that with on modern school buildings. And then the small parking lot there would be the one that has the primary, for the high school at least, would have the primary location for the handicap accessible spots that are required. And so those are some of the key hallmarks, I guess, of the site plan. I don't know if there's any additional questions that we can answer now or that we could take notes for in the future. And if not, I can show a few renderings.
Okay,
However you guys want to do it.
great, thank you. I'm going to see if staff has comments first, and then I'll turn it over to the board, keeping in mind that our questions may just be sort of so that you can, when you come back, you'll have answers. You don't
Obviously.
necessarily expect
Yeah.
all the answers tonight.
Gotcha.
Staff, did you have anything you want to add?
A couple of questions. Just kind of wondered, what are some of the sustainability measures that you guys are going to be implementing or proposing to implement as part of this design on the site and maybe in the building as well?
Yeah, so, so to start sustainability, the best place to start is orientation for the building, and that's the built environment. And so we're looking to do that. I've explained that. The north arrow on this is sort of up but slightly tilted towards the left. And so that building actually, or maybe it's straight up, but that building actually resolves pretty well to a north-south axis on the long edge. We start there. We're doing super insulated envelope so that the energy efficiency is, there's, stretch code and all that. We're supposed to do what now it's called TEDI exercises, where you do the thermal envelope design and also get a really low EUI. I'm throwing out a lot of jargon, but energy use intensity, which means we're calibrating the systems, and the envelope is made. The analogy is if you have a refrigerator, but the container that the refrigerator is, the refrigerator's not going to work very well, right? It's going to get really warm. It doesn't keep the cold air where the cold air needs to be. We're doing that here. We're keeping the warm, the temperature inside the building is what it needs to be. We're going to keep that in the building. With the super insulated envelope. Then we have moments where we're introducing green roofs. So we're trying to, that's a strategy not only for cool roof, but it's a strategy for rainwater, stormwater mitigation, because it can slow the rate enough to where you don't have inundation to the neighbors, which we know is a big issue on this site. We talked about windows. We're doing all electric systems with, so that's nice. We're doing air source heat pumps. You might have heard some of this in the conversation from Monday night. And so a lot of that has been very carefully talked about and calculated. And so we're kind of excited about the measures that can be taken in this building. Now, the parts that are in white, we're not going to be doing much to the envelope other than windows and doors, right? So the parts that are in tan are going to have to work extra hard to balance out the effects of what you can't change and what you can. And so you'll see some of that come out as we do final design too.
Are you going to be doing like any rain gardens or any LID?
Yeah, that's always, I didn't mention them, but that is always one of the, so I don't know if people heard the question, but it's rain gardens or low impact development, that's what you mean. Yeah, we have, there's some already on the site designed, and there's like these courtyards that have outdoor classrooms, things like that. These become, not only do they become effective low impact development or rain gardens or things like that, but we usually put signs on them and make them teaching elements integrated with the school. And so actually Consigli and TAPE have done a recent project down in Sharon that this was really successful, and there's all of that is included. So I think our strategy with the civil engineers is usually get as much low impact development and rain garden surface treatment as we can before we go to underground. This site is fairly tricky because there's a low ledge, high water table, and so all of that becomes challenging. But we're working on it, and we'll have more for that next time we come.
Can I add to the answer about sustainability?
I think we'll take comments from the audience after the board members, okay? Thank you. Anything else?
I think just, not looking for answers tonight, but just elements of site plan review that we're going to be looking more so once there is, an official submission is going to be, a big part is going to be traffic, the traffic flow of the site, the pickup, drop-off areas, any queuing that might occur, how the parking spaces, making sure that's all safe, with student drivers. Think about elements that we just dealt with during the Fox Hill site plan, lighting on site, landscaping, snow storage did come up. And then I know you touched on it, but again, knowing all the phasing with the construction, how that's going to work with students in the buildings versus not being able to be there, and kind of how that's all going to work. Again, not expecting answers to all that tonight, but just things that we're going to be kind of looking at. And I know you mentioned different kind of elements about conservation, and that during a site plan review, Conservation Commission will also look at this and have to make approvals. So those are all kind of elements that will be included in the process.
Perfect.
Thank
I have a question on the traffic. Do you guys do peer review traffic? Is that going to be, should we expect that, or?
Not unless something jumps out at us as being particular, like,
Hopefully not.
hopefully not, that's.
But we'll definitely.
We're not a community that does standard, like every single
Yeah.
traffic study we get, we peer review it. We're not those.
The reality is, the school already exists there. And it's like, we'll show you how these little traffic adjustments are aimed at improving the on-site traffic flow, but there should be no impact that doesn't already exist on the site. But we'll work to show you that. I just wanted to be prepared for if that's happening.
And we'll also be sure to work with our traffic safety officer with the police department, who again worked during the Fox Hill project. We
Yeah.
were able to kind of figure out what was going to work best.
And we have had a preliminary meeting with police and fire already, so
Great.
we'll do more of that during
So
DD. so-
hopefully a traffic peer review won't be necessary. We don't guarantee it, but
Sure.
we are hope that it wouldn't be necessary.
We've been through it a lot, so I think if it happens, it happens. We just want to
And
make
I-
it as clear as we can.
I'll just add to what Chris said. I believe we are familiar with the site plan approval of the Fox Hill project, being the same firm. So, I've spoken to Steve and Donna, and so we're well aware, and we will ensure that our submission is better than yours, Steve.
You want a pretty binder.
Yeah, we'll give you binders and keychains. and
I will
so,
say-
but in all seriousness, I think we do have an advantage in that our firm managed that process for Fox Hill. They know, we know what you are looking for, and we will meet that standard or exceed it.
Well, I will say that your colleagues on Fox Hill did an outstanding job and made our job much easier because they were so comprehensive and thorough. So
I
we'll
will
be
pass
hoping
that
for the same.
on.
Jeremy, would you like to start us off?
Through the chair, it's Catherine. I had my hand up.
Okay, but we're going to have board members speak first, and then we're going to turn it over to people in the audience. Okay?
I wanted to be reply to one of the questions that was asked. That's okay?
Okay.
I just wanted to make a comment that, someone mentioned that they wanted to know how the students were going to be moved around and how the project, as things were being built. We actually have a video that shows the process if people want to go look at it at the bhsbuildingproject.com.
Okay, thank you. Jeremy?
Yes, I actually have some questions.
Okay.
And one of them actually references that video because I have watched it. I haven't
And
been
just
able
so I'm clear, the video that you're referring to is the consigli phasing video, as opposed to the 10-minute video that,
That's correct.
to watched both.
yeah.
I've
I just
watched
want to
it.
make sure I know which one you're referring to so that we can respond accordingly.
And I know that, our focus as vice chair, so well put, is very contained. But, a lot of this comes from my perspective. I will have potentially two children at the school during this. And I wanted to know, or I will want to know, how the traffic flow will be and what the pinch points could be during the phases of construction. I know you're going to come with the end state. On the video, it looked nice. I know we're going to get numbers and facts and figures, but I know there are changes throughout the years. So just getting a perspective on what that looks like, because I think that'll be important. It'll impact a lot of people throughout the process. Also, parking.
Before you
Yes.
get to your next question, Christy, do you want to just touch on that?
Can, sure. That video did sort of try to, a first attempt at identifying how traffic will flow throughout at least the initial phase with the addition, which is the biggest, the most challenging for us, is how do we maintain traffic flow. For example, we showed student drop-off taking place in the student parking lot instead of around the building. And we're still working through the decision whether or not we cut off access of the entire loop road, and we would have to do a U-turn and route people back through, which in that case, it would become a two-way. So we have a little bit more work to do as the project goes through the approval process, and we will certainly be prepared to come with each phase a traffic flow for both construction traffic and parent-student buses.
Thank you. And that's why I was asking. I saw there were shifts throughout the project. So just understanding what that'll be like for the students and the residents.
And just to add on to that, I mean, the intention is to minimize the number of changes so that when we start construction of the new academic wings, that's a 24-month period, and the traffic pattern throughout that period will be the same. And then we will shift and probably shift one more time over the course. So it's a 4.5-year construction period from, start to finish, but we want to minimize changes.
3.5.
3.5, sorry. Because it is change is difficult for people. The nice thing is that the first chunk is going to be for a long period of time, and we have done this on several sites. These guys have done it on several sites, and it requires communication through the school, to the parents, to bus drivers, to everybody, and it's learned behavior, right? If you nail it at the start, people fall in line. If you don't pay attention, it creates issues. And, you know, I've done this, I've been out there with my own stop signs and high-vis vests, being like, no, that's not the way you go. But we're well-versed in this, and it will be safe, and it will be well communicated with signage, and, you know, I would expect that to be top of the list. I think in the video, you hear the superintendent, Tom, talk about safety. That is our priority, especially when it comes to the kids.
Thank you. Just a couple others. One is parking. As you saw at town meeting, there were other events going on, and there were a lot of cars there. I know the
Illegally parked.
Yes, up on the curb, on the grass. They were up on the grass when there were open spots. People park how they park. But, you know, behind the school, it looks like there's a reduction in parking. So just understanding how the parking is shifting and how the total counts of spots is changing and where.
It's right there. I don't know if you can see it. It's kind of blurry, but it's, if you can zoom in on that chart a little bit down. It's the existing parking capacity is 281. We're adding about 55. Currently, that's what we have shown, but we'll be looking to maximize that, so.
Good.
And show you how that works. But it's probably 55 still not enough, but we're going to try to get as many as we can, so.
So, to your point, still not enough,
Yeah.
but better than today is what
Yeah.
it looks.
Yeah.
Okay. And I wasn't looking for an answer, so thank you, by the way. And the other big one is, you know, I've seen renderings of the front. I'm seeing a real rise in e-bikes and scooters with kids, especially as they're old enough to be on them, but don't have a license or a car yet. So as we go through this, just want to think through how can there be a spot for them to put their stuff that's accessible but safe.
We did.
Yeah,
So-
appreciate
No,
that.
it's not my turn. I want to jump in on that.
Yeah.
Because I know in other communities, there's a lot of bicycle traffic to their high school. And we don't have as much of that probably because of Cambridge Street. But I think we should be prepared for that and encourage that because it would certainly help with the other traffic problems.
So there's a
Thank you.
program, are you guys familiar with Safe Paths to School?
Yes.
So we've met with one of their representatives already, and we'll continue to do that during the process, and we'll hopefully be able to show you things that you like on that.
Great.
Awesome. I think that's it for now. Thank you.
Thank you. Tony Ann?
I've actually been following the high school committee, so all my questions have really been asked and answered when I've been following.
Great, thank you.
Good.
Thanks,
Greg?
Tony.
I just probably have a million questions. But I'll leave one for tonight. And that's not really a question, other than can you do an explanation on how the new wing is going to have to work harder on the electricity because of the inefficiency of the old wing? Can you
Yep.
be a little bit more, dive into that a little bit for me?
Yeah, so it's really in the vertical skin of the building, the thermal envelope of the building. We can put a new roof on and drape that with a new roofing material and get more insulation up there, but the exterior walls of virtually, there's two spots where you can see, if you can imagine the middle of the building that's coming down, there's a scar left in the two white buildings that are left that we have to seal up, that used to be interior space. But all the other faces of that building are going to stay like they are right now. The concrete, we're not recladding them, we're not doing any work on that, and that was one of the cost-saving strategies that we had going in. Where we can, we will address some thermal things like windows and doors, actually all windows and
Are
doors.
there any windows and doors in the concrete?
In the cafeteria.
Not a bad point, but where there are windows and doors, they will be replaced with high efficiency, like triple glazed, highly sealed situations. But in a new construction building, we would follow the code, which dictates continuous insulation on the outside. You're eliminating thermal bridging. Just so happens concrete that's thick like that becomes a good heat sink, so it's not a terrible issue. But it also takes a long time for it to change in temperature, right? So if it gets cold, it's going to take a long time for it to get warm. And that's in the winter, that starts from the outside and it starts to come in. We aren't doing anything about that necessarily. We will do some things on the inside, like where if we pull off a finish, we'll go back with some insulation on the inside of the wall. We have to do some analysis on that to make sure we're not creating a condensation issue. But the new building, in terms of total energy, we can drive that down as low as we possibly can with new construction techniques and insulation. That's where I talk about the super insulated envelope and all of the TEDI modeling, where we can model the exterior skin and actually tell you where that efficiencies are. And so if the statement comes in the sense that if you were to model, if I were to give you an energy model of just the tan sections, it would be really, really super performing, like really low. And if I give you an energy model of the white sections, it won't look as good as those. But when we combine them together, it'll be a really good project.
So what's the scale difference?
I can't tell you that right now, but we've done it. So for example, we turned, this is just one of our past projects. We took a Carnegie Library, 1900 circa Carnegie Library, did an addition to it, and you can't historically controlled on the register building. We couldn't do much to it to change it, but we added the new building on the backside and were able to get LEED Platinum certification on that building because the new building could overcompensate for what you can't do with a historical building. And so we're going to dial it in as much as we can, and I can come back to you with more details on that, but that's just the nature of when you're preserving building, not that we're preserving anything about that, but we're trying to limit first costs for the town of Burlington. And we could have gone and said, let's just put a whole new skin on this thing, let's clad it, let's do all these things, but that would have been a bunch more millions of dollars. That is already an expensive project. So that's where we're at.
Okay, thank you.
All set? Okay, Jess?
Yeah.
I have a few questions. I know some of them more so for you to answer in the future. I didn't notice on the site plan where visitor parking would be.
It's going to be in that horseshoe area.
In this, where the staff
Yeah.
parking is?
Yep.
Okay.
So I'd say staff and visitors is probably what we should label that
Okay.
in the future. But
And then the second orange line, the other car drop-off lane, is that for the preschool?
yeah.
Okay. And will that fully accommodate what's anticipated for the preschool, or will some of it bleed into the prior queue?
We think that'll do it because if you look at how they work right now, they're not backing up all the way around the building, and the teachers come and get the kid out of the building, out of the car. Like when the parent pulls up, the teachers are there getting students out of the car instead of some preschools where the parent walks them in. That's a much longer process.
Yeah.
And I think the school's been dealing with this issue for so long because it is the whole, everybody's mixed in together. We think that'll, right now our calculations show that that's going to be similar, if not better, to what you have right now.
Okay. And do you know, will the preschool be able to accommodate more children?
It will.
Okay, so then that will take into consideration
Yeah.
the increased number of children. Because I do know, because I live not far, and sometimes we'll walk in the middle of the day because I work from home, and I know that a lot of times parents will also arrive early, so
Sure.
they're there, and
Sure.
I think just like the queue of that, the calculation of that, I'd actually be more interested in than probably the one that people are cycling through.
Yep.
And then access from Sunset. There are walkers. My children will be some of them. Will that access still occur?
Yeah.
And will there be, because like right now on the site plan, I don't see any crosswalk or anything. Especially since the bus entry is right there from the access on Sunset. Will there be a better kind of safety where that access point is?
Yeah. We'll have to define that better than what's shown right now, but there definitely needs to be a crosswalk there.
Okay.
And the one that goes over to the other neighborhood street. What is that street?
Arlington?
There's 3.
No, not Arlington.
Valley Circle.
Valley Circle, that's the one.
Valley Circle.
It's behind the,
Valley
the gym
Circle
name
has one, but I
museums.
don't see one.
I think we have the one for Arlington down there. There may be one missing somewhere in the middle where there's a stair that comes down.
Yep.
We need to
Yep.
grab that one. But yeah, we'll
Okay.
grab
Arlington is
those.
the one with the stairs, I think.
Yep, there's two on, there's at least one on Arlington down at the end where the road actually meets up.
Yep.
Yes.
You could see the
There's a
crosswalk in
crosswalk
this,
there? Okay.
yeah, you could see it in this plan now. But then the stair that's more down near the preschool is right in there. We're going to need to put a crosswalk there too, and we'll capture that. I'm taking notes on my phone, not texting.
Snow storage and snow storage throughout the construction phases. We'll be curious to kind of learn more about that and how that might shift. A request for the playground, because it's been so lovely at Wildwood, but like a cover.
Oh, shade structures?
Yeah.
Okay. For the preschool?
The preschool, yeah, the playground
Yep.
area, especially like for the kids to be able to enjoy the outdoors more often, whether it's, lightly sprinkling or whatnot. And then, yeah, I guess when we get into discussing how the flow will work throughout the construction phases, with that flow also understanding how to work for walkers, I think will be. I think those were my questions for now.
Okay.
Can I ask a follow-up question on that? So we're happy to give you all the, you guys will comment back on phasing, or are there regulations you guys have for phasing? You guys regulate the final condition, right?
Yeah, but I feel like
Yes.
in conjunction with the building department, there will likely be, you will probably require a construction phasing plan.
Which we do. I'm just trying to understand the level of submittal that you guys,
I don't, do you guys, I mean, I guess it's up to you.
This is such a long process,
The
and it's
traffic
going to
flow
have
part of
such
it
an impact on the neighborhoods and everybody in Burlington whose kids go there. I do think we're going to need to get into, and that's where a lot of my questions are, get into how that's going to work during the construction phase. Parking and drop-offs and other things too that I'll get to, so.
okay?
Okay. Okay. Are you all set? Yes. Okay. So most of what I have, like I said, I'm not expecting answers tonight, just things that I'm going to want to talk about when you come back before us. First of all, it was great to hear that you're going to be incorporating green roofs. Love to hear that. Is there going to be any additional solar as well? And then I just sort of a side note, I think it's wonderful that you're doing the green roofs, and I would really encourage somebody from your team to reach out to the science department, because they have an AP environmental science class that could really benefit from learning about what you're doing. I think it would be wonderful for them to be able to be a part of that and see it happening and learn about the process, not just at the end. It would be great for them. During construction, I am also concerned about traffic flow and parking, and I'm concerned about those 3 residential streets that already have a lot of impact from people who drive down those streets to drop off their kids, and I'm concerned that that traffic will increase in those neighborhoods during construction, because it's going to be difficult, and I think we all need to try and think about ways to protect those neighborhoods from that. Other things for the neighbors during construction, we're going to want to talk about dust control plans, especially during the demolition. And I know I have heard from several neighbors who are very concerned about their foundations cracking and other impacts on their property, because it is pretty close to some neighbors. So we're going to want to talk a little bit about that and see what assurances you can provide to those people. And safe access from all 3 streets, like Jess mentioned. Okay, we are going to want to talk about landscaping, obviously, and with a a strong focus on screening to the residential streets. I think that will be really important. When in the process do you generally select the materials for the exterior? Is that before the site plan process, during the site plan process? Do you know when that normally happens?
Final selection is usually probably towards the end of DD, and then like finals, the 60% CDs, the construction documents.
So before, it's going to happen after?
Yeah, we'll probably likely have secured your,
yeah.
oh, yeah.
The only
Yeah.
reason I'm asking.
This is the middle of next year, towards the end of the year. It's
Okay. It's unfortunate. I mean, this is not our area. I just
Yep.
honestly think that when you go out to this vote, to the town, people want to see a pretty picture. And you're not going to have that to show them. And I just think it makes your job a little more difficult, but
We have,
if you can't do it, you can't do it.
Well, we do have renderings, and we have all kinds of visualization for the building.
But
that
that's not what it's going to look like, right?
That's what's being priced right now,
White.
or light-colored materials. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's been, if people have an interest in that and want to engage in that conversation and selection, they need to go to the building committee, because that's where those, we've already talked about it there several times, and the building committee has weighed in on those directions. Now, it may not end up being white, but right now we had to hold material categories that create budget lines, and so we still have the ability to fine-tune color choices around what's there. But I think the intent was not to put in dark building materials on the site. We're trying to lighten up the site a little bit. So that you can anticipate some language coming through like that, but.
But the intent is also not to match it to the Center for Education, correct?
Not
Because
concrete.
frankly, I was heartbroken to hear that, that you're not changing the look of it. I understand that that's
Yeah.
an expense requirement, and it's not something we
Yeah.
get involved in. It just
Understand.
hurts.
Yeah. I hear you.
I think we have a rendering of the entrance of the center, Caleb. Yeah,
That's the high school.
that's the high school, I thought.
That's the high school, yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
I can,
Yeah.
there's a couple more.
Yeah.
You want to just?
No, it's the
Okay.
courtyard.
Let's just go through them. That's the courtyard. There's the Center for
There's the Center for
Education.
Education.
So then I would also encourage you early in the process to reach out to the Board of Appeals so that you can get all your signage handled ahead of time.
Okay, yeah.
Because that sometimes is a little sticky.
Yep.
And the other thing that I know we can't discuss in a public forum, but is also very important, and I'm sure you're already on top of this, is security. I know you'll probably be working with our police force about that, and it's not something you discuss publicly. I think this board would feel reassured to know just sort of off camera what some of the top line plans are for security, because we want to make sure that our students and our teachers and staff are safe. So that's all I have for now. I'm very much looking forward to you coming back to us after November.
Yeah.
So we can really dive into that site plan.
I like the sentiment.
Is
So
there,
do we.
is there anyone in the audience? Oh, wait, I'm sorry, Jeremy, did you have something else?
I had one quick question. You
Sure.
triggered a thought that I
Oh,
really
okay.
liked. So we talked about the green roof and solar, assuming that there could be a variety of options on the roof, even some, I know there's a lot of new wind technology with either Archimedes-style screws or barrel wind that is highly efficient, better than current wind is what it's looking like. Would the roof be able to hold up that? Because it's not as spread out as solar. Is that something you've ever looked at?
Yeah, I'll have to get back to you. We have not done a project with wind on it. We've seen it done. I've looked at it, but we haven't done it yet, so I don't know specifically what the structural requirements are, but the building, once delivered, will be able to accommodate solar and all the things that you could possibly want on the roof. If we want to add in provisions for future wind, we can certainly do that too. But the wind itself is not a part of the project, and the building committee is very specific about not using contingencies to add things, and so that would be a thing that would have to go back to the voters at some point and say, we want to add wind, here's how we would do that. And so, but let us look into it. I'll take a note and then be able to have a conversation with you about how we can make provisions. So even if it's just running conduits to future locations, so when the wind is generating its power, it's easy to run it somewhere in the building in the future. So we can definitely talk through some of those provisions. It's a good idea. Thank you.
And that actually sparked something in my mind that we will want to talk about when you come to us for site plan, talking about the mechanicals on the roof and how visible they are from the ground or from neighboring properties. So
Sure.
we want to talk a little bit about screening and noise control of that as well.
Yep.
Okay.
One last
Greg,
thing.
yes.
What are you going to do with the owl?
What?
Oh, the owl
The owl.
from the science department.
The science department owl that's got a home out there.
Yeah.
Oh, the Science Center is just going to get relocated, but the owl will maintain. A better question for all of you is, what do we do with the naked man?
Oh, you cannot get rid of the naked.
Well, I don't know, but I'm still trying to determine the significance of said naked man, how he got there.
You know what we're going to do is going to put it.
So we need to reach out to the class of 1976 and find out which student made it, what the significance is of it, and what potentially is inside of the
Inside?
base.
Oh, I didn't think it was.
He's
Well,
starting things now.
it's massive.
I would start that line of questions at the Zoning Board of Appeals. I think there's somebody on there who knows something about that.
All right. Well,
Okay.
yes, we're not getting rid of the naked man.
Let's
But
move it to
I
the-
keep every time I go, I'm like, does anybody know how this got here? Everyone's like,
Put
no.
him, we
No.
will not get involved.
Yeah.
Well, let's put him on the site, so it's your call.
Right.
Okay.
All right, back to you.
If there's anyone in the audience, either in the room or online, that wants to make a comment, again, regarding site plan, please raise your hand. Martha, please come forward. If someone could make room for Martha in front of a microphone, that would be great. Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Martha Simon. I'm on the School Building Committee, and I've followed this project for 2 years. I've also been looking at these pictures for over a year, and I just wanted to encourage people to take the time to orient yourself, because it's not completely obvious when you first look at it. You folks are probably better at that than the average person I've been talking to, but most people can't picture where is the school now on the new renderings, and where's the construction site. And so I think it's important for people to understand that the construction site is going to be out in front of the auditorium. And if you imagine standing in the auditorium, which is quite large, with a cement wall on both sides, while that new building is being built, the students will be on the other side in the current high school in classes. So some might be sort of near the auditorium, but most of them won't be anywhere near there. And so I imagine, and I defer to the construction people, that there'll be some construction noise that the kids will hear. But I know people are understandably concerned about the students many had disruptions already over COVID. But I think this is going to be one of the least disruptive in terms of noise and construction while kids are in the classroom. And also because we're going to build the whole new wing and then move the kids into it, there'll be less disruption. Kids won't have to move several times over the course of their high school career. And I know in comparison to Arlington High School, where they built a new wing, and then they took kids out of a different wing, and then they demolished the wing, which was next to the other wing, and then they built a new wing, and then they did that, and it was much closer to the students. So I think this is probably one of the least disruptive projects that we could have come up with. So I completely agree that it's a concern about disrupting the students, but I think this is a really good plan.
Are your kids music
for
kids?
that.
Because I think the music hall is going to be the most affected.
Yeah, the music
I may have a
department is the one that will need more than that, and I don't know the details on that yet.
Yeah.
So, and the other thing is that the demolition, which will be very disruptive and noisy, and the auditorium is planned to be over the summer. You know, maybe it won't, maybe it will run into the school year or the end of the school year, and they're going to do what they can to make it better. People also, I just wanted to add to your questions, and there were several questions tonight about sustainability. I was on the Sustainability Working Group, and I worked with the architects, and they hired sustainability consultants. So they're not just sort of, oh, what should we do here, you know? And they, you know, they brought people in to say, what would this look like? How sustainable would it be? This particular model that we've come up with was not great on the orientation of the building for sun and heat and shade and light, direct light, except that once we focused on that option, these architects are amazing. They kept coming up with new ideas. So after we were finalizing which ones, they were able to develop the option more. And they developed it so now it is a good sustainable option in terms of orientation and sunlight and daylight and that kind of thing. And I imagine as the designs go forward that these other questions will be, you know, maybe we can tweak this or tweak that. In terms of the balance between saving money and having a brand new, you know, envelope on the renovated areas, it may not, you know, that's where the trade-offs are. And I think that the building committee and the architects have been very, very responsible about this. We all know it's a huge amount of money, but it's what it costs to build a new high school while we're saving some of the old parts and not making, you know, gold-plated anything. So I just wanted to add, because there was a lot of questions about sustainability. Also, it's not part of tonight, but the heat source will be air source heat pumps, electric air source heat pumps, which are going to be much more efficient. So we will be using less electricity in the long run, so we'll be able to save some money. And there's more details about all that, but and the solar panels are not part of this project because people didn't feel we should add it, but it's going to be built so that we can put solar panels. We hadn't had the conversation about wind. It's a good one to talk about. We talked about end of life of a boiler that we put in could be shifted to an electric boiler in the future. So we're trying to plan for the future without adding those costs up front, because many of those costs are very expensive.
Martha?
Yep.
You're way over your throat.
Way over, oh.
Sorry.
Okay, so yeah, I just wanted to
Sorry.
add to some of the things. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else online who wants to speak or ask a question? See no one. Okay. Well, I think do we need a motion? I don't think we need a motion because this was just a discussion. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much. We'll see you all soon.
Gave you a lot to think about. Feel free to reach out to planning staff because they can clarify anything that was not clear. Okay?
Perfect. Great.
Thank you again.
Thanks very much.
We'll be sure to share the presentation with you all as well.
Yeah, I did send that while they were talking.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. Thank you all.
See you guys later.
And I'm getting you home in time for the game. That's good. Okay. We do not have any matters of appointments or minutes to discuss. We do have a few discussion matters. Liz?
Sure, so quickly, I applied through the one-stop grant application process, which is through the Department of Economic Development through the state. And I received a grant through the Downtown Initiative Grant Program for $30,000.
Great.
To hire a consultant to look at the design review process for the town center overlay.
Great, because we do need that. Do you think the 30,000 will cover the cost of the project?
I do not believe so. So, you know, I will, as the budget season ramps up, I'll be discussing with administration kind of, you know, what are my options, or you know, how do we do it?
Okay.
And so that is in the works. So I just wanted to let you know that. So that was that was good to hear. It was really, you know, nice that they gave that to us. In the town center sign design guidelines, I have a final draft. I need to send it out to the working group. I would like to have it done at our next meeting.
I think it can be. I think we were very close.
I believe in us.
Yeah,
We can do
we
it.
were
We can
very
get
close.
there.
Yeah.
Has the zoning board of appeals had anything on that? Because I know that's.
We have invited Jeff DeBona to all of the meetings, and he has had input, and we've
Good.
incorporated some of that. Ultimately, these are guidelines, so none of these are enforceable. The idea of this, of kind of what we're doing is, it's basically a design packet so that when a business comes in and they have their design company come in, this is what they hand and say, hey, we're in the town center, like, this is what we're looking for. And they
Sort of best practices.
best practices, what kind
Wonderful.
of,
Yeah.
so that's
That's a good idea.
that's where they're, and yeah, no, he's been very helpful, and it's good to he has,
Good. I just want to make sure they were
Yeah,
plugged in, because if it
100%.
goes outside of it.
yeah, so
Yeah.
we've had Chamber, we have Mike Murray Jr., who's in
Okay.
Murray Hills, and so we've tried to have, and then
Yeah.
CBRC,
Yeah.
so we've tried to have a good group of people. Mixed design standards and guidelines, there's an upcoming meeting next week.
When is that? I don't know if I have that on my calendar.
Oh, actually, I think I got the invite.
Oh, maybe we
I
did.
blindly
Let
accept
me look.
invites.
Next Tuesday,
Tuesday.
on the 7th.
Oh, I have it.
Yeah, at 1 o'clock.
At 1 PM. I actually
Yeah.
have it on my calendar, and I
just
totally
blindly
forgot all about it.
accept, And then I'm like, yeah,
So-
okay, it's there.
So I would like to know what, and we don't have to talk about it right
Right.
now, but I think you are thinking the same thing. One, we wanted a list of the deliverables
Yep.
before this meeting, and we haven't
Absolutely.
received that. And two, I wanted to, for you and Jess and I to have an understanding before the meeting on Tuesday, what the agenda is and what we expect to
Yeah.
achieve, because the first couple of meetings, I felt
Little
like it
rough.
was nice getting to know you stuff, but we didn't actually accomplish much.
I am
And-
100%
Okay,
on that.
so if we could maybe see that agenda tomorrow, if possible? And-
I will see yes, so I can reach out to the consultant, she knows.
Or
that we-
Monday. Monday would
yeah,
be
we
fine.
need to-
Yeah.
She knows that have said that I want everything from them at least 24 hours before the meeting, so that at
Yeah.
least I can go over it and
Yeah.
kind of
At the very least. But
100%.
moving forward, I
Right.
think you should tell them, make them give it to you earlier so that we have it for 24
100%.
hours ahead of time.
100%.
And that list of deliverables, they need to deliver
Yep.
that by Monday at the latest.
Absolutely.
Because we want time to review it, we might want to make changes or add to it.
Absolutely. So I have that on my notes. I can reach out to them.
Okay.
But that's all I have.
Okay, very good. Do any other members have new business or comments they want to make? No? All right. I'm ready.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right. Don't anybody leave, because we have to.